yeah, Steve.
You.
It's that time.
It is.
That's what we do in Africa.
That's what we do in North Texas, actually.
Always.
I like to be encouraging.
Black, white, Asian.
Everybody, even from Canada, Mexico, everywhere.
Pakistan, we hear you, man. Kazakhstan, what's up?
What's
We've
up?
got the courage to face our daily challenge.
Man, I need some courage.
Me too.
Tough.
We rejoice through music.
Yep.
We rejoice, we dance, we boogie.
Always positive.
Always.
I try not to be on the negative tip.
Man.
Some people are addicted to this.
I mean, I can't tell you what to be addicted to, but
Yeah.
be addicted to Jesus.
Change towards the goodness.
Yep.
Hey, we're New Year. It's all about changing toward the goodness. What's up?
Amen.
We rejoice through music.
Yes, sir.
Always do music, man.
So Steve, man. What is up? I'm Steve. I was going to say I'm Steve.
He's Steve. We're changing names today.
We're picking a different identity today. I identify as Steve, and I'm Chris.
I'm Steve. He's Chris. There you go.
Yeah, and we are CWA, which means
Christians with attitude and love in others, Christ, music, worship, sports, each other,
all that and a bowl of grits.
and grits, man. You know my favorite subject is food, man. Only besides Jesus.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said grits.
Yeah, you triggered me
I'm
already.
sorry, man.
I'm already feeling triggered over here. Anyways, welcome to the show. Hope you guys had a good New Year's. How was your New Year's, Chris?
Mine was as kind of boring as most of my New Year's are. You know, once I got to a certain age of just not go out, even when I was young enough to go out, I couldn't afford to go out. So by the time I was old enough to go out, I couldn't afford to go out.
Yeah.
You know, and then and my wife tends to go to bed early. She'll wake up later, but she'll crash somewhere. So we rarely, a lot of years we have trouble making it to the actual moment. In fact, this year I think we toasted some champagne at like 11. We pretended like we're at Eastern time.
Does people know how to party or what?
And, and then like,
I'm not hating. We do the same.
Then again, maybe at 12, she actually stayed up. So
Yeah, we do the same. Here in a little bit, when we get into Testify, I'll let you know what I did on New Year's Eve. That's a radio tease.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's more information coming in the future that's going to be awesome.
I've been starting to read books, Chris. I'm starting to catch up with you. But anyways, on New Year's Day, I love New Year's Day, man. It's just something about, and it was even awesomer. It's on Sunday.
Can it get awesomer?
It was on Sunday. So there was church on New Year's Day. That was awesome. Went to church on New Year's Day. And then literally in this order, slept, ate, football, ate, slept. Something like that. In that order.
You get a lot of sleep, and I'm impressed by your amount of sleep. Your amount of sleep intake is as impressive as my wife's water intake. Like, it's just, and I'm trying to get there. That's a resolution, buddy.
Get more rest, man. You don't have to play guitar every time you're awake.
Yeah, dude, I'm just trying to squeeze in every little. I got 1,000 things to do and like 500 moments to do it. You know.
This is going to be a new exclusive on CWA here.
Yeah, Christmas may be over.
Christmas is over, but this is a gift that gives all year long.
For those in audio format, this is a present.
Yeah.
That has wrapping.
Yeah.
I will now unwrap it. Steve just told me I must unwrap it.
I wanted to hear the sound of what it sounded like on the sound.
Yeah, this is like ADSMR.
Yeah, this is ASMR CWA.
Dude, this is already looking cool.
Yeah.
The box is. Hopefully the box is not lying. Hopefully this isn't just a box of tampons.
No, they were out.
Okay. This is a desktop drum set.
Yeah.
One stand, one cymbal, one large drum.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
so whenever you're at work and you land a good dad joke in the middle of your presentation, right there, man.
Dude, I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I definitely want to hear what a rim shot sounds like.
Right, yeah, I saw that and I was like, I'll put it out in the basket. And what's crazy is my family was like, Chris was like, how'd you know? Anyways, but yeah, I think that's the gift that keeps on giving there. So it hopes that people can, I see you eating some peanuts going on. What's up with that?
Well, man, I mean, I'm kind of torn on how much to say, but I'll say a little bit. Our church is doing a fast. I've done some fasting before. It's tricky talking about it all because it's like Scripture says, like, don't go around looking all gaunt like you're fasting, so people will think, wow, look at him, how fancy, and so on one hand you don't want to be like, hey, look at me, I'm fasting,
Yeah.
but we're just kind of the church is praying over some new direction and some different things. So this time we're trying the Daniel fast, so that's like all fruits, veggies, whole grains, no dairy, no sugar, sweet substitute of any kind, alcohol, caffeine, like pretty much everything that's good to eat.
Wow.
I like to eat, I can't eat. So it's been, day one was like weird and draining, and I feel like I could never get satisfied with anything food wise. But days 2 and 3 have been better. My energy kind of came back. So
it was 21 days.
I mean, I think we're doing like a month, but then we're taking Sunday off or something, which I think I read that. I'm sticking with. I hope I get Sunday off.
So Sundays off, you can eat whatever, you can eat that stuff.
Yeah, you can kind of go back to eat normal, but I don't think I'm gonna go back and just gouge myself and eat like a full bison or anything. Like
you come up here on Sunday, you got like a full pig roasting in your backyard, just spinning it.
Yeah,
we don't need an apple in there. I've been eating those all week, and not making fun of it.
My
but,
house looks like a Brazilian steakhouse.
Not making fun of it, but this is what I love about doing the show is someone like me that's new to this, learning some of these things there. And
I guess for background, what it was is when Daniel was in the Bible, book of the Bible.
Yeah.
He was taken to Babylon during the captivity, and the king there, liked him and his boys.
Yeah.
And at first he was trying to like have them eat like all the fine stuff of the king,
Yeah.
party king food basically.
Okay.
And Daniel,
like a New Year's Eve spread, like a whole bunch, like something.
Yeah, but like they would eat that every day. Like today, feast of the day.
Wow.
And Daniel like basically had a spiritual thing against it. And he kind of pushed back against their handler. But the handler's like, dude, but if you don't eat it, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna die. And so Daniel gave him a test. He said, okay, let me and my boys eat, better stuff basically for us than this king's food for a period of time. And then after, I forget how long it was, 10 days, 30 days, I forget what the period was. He said after that time, 3 weeks, I don't know. He said, check us and see if we look healthy as the other guys or not.
Yeah.
And of course, after that time, they looked way healthier than
the
guy, because the other guys are eating. Now I feel like Daniel, my comedy bit here is I think Daniel could have there could have been a middle ground somewhere, because I feel the king was probably eating like 8 hogs and 14 flagons of wine, and 18 desserts, and you could have just stopped short and said, how about like 1 cow and 1 dessert, 1 flagon of wine. There could have been a middle ground. That's all I'm saying.
He went all the way.
But yeah, it was kind of spiritual discipline through physical living. So yeah, it's cool stuff, man.
Speaking of spiritual discipline, did you see Buffalo Bills? Was it DeMar Hamlin is his name? I wasn't watching it live. I was actually on the way home from work, and I turned it on the radio to see what the score was, and there was no game. And I was like, what's going on? I turned it on, and when I turned it on, I was like, wow. DeMar Hamlin, was he a defensive back? Yeah, it was just to me, it just looked like a routine tackle.
Yeah, he's a cornerback or something like that, defense back, or maybe a safety. But yeah, I got the text message from our sports station saying, hey, they've postponed this game. I couldn't see a lot in the text, obviously, so I jumped on and saw. And tell us more. Kind of why was this different than just run of the mill? Oh, what, a football player got injured? Big whoop.
Wow. Yeah, it looked routine, but and then when he got up after the tackle, and then he just collapsed, almost falling back into the referee and.
I never saw the actual video, I could, but I was trying to not be that kind of ghoulish guy to go look for it. The day of, anyway.
Yeah, right, and which it's out there. You can look on it. Yeah. I didn't see the actual. By the time I got off work, they had already taken all those off. Where you could, because there were some videos where it was you could see him, they were he died twice. They brought him back to life. So they had CPR and probably the defibrillator and all that kind of stuff. Said a big word. Get excited when I say big words. Defibrillator. And to me, what was so awesome about it is just the automatic onpouring of prayer groups. Of course, on social media, it was everywhere. It was on CNN. It was on Fox News. Everywhere I turned it on, it was just prayers. I shared that video with you, Chris, before here. Even ESPN on NFL Live, the guy was like, everybody's saying it, but you know what? I just feel it right now that I should do it. He prefaced it, I know it might not be right, but I'm going to do it right now. And he stopped on the air and prayed on NFL Live. And you just don't see that. You just don't see that. I mean,
I think one thing that helped with that, maybe, just me spitballing here, socially speaking here, this big social experiment we're in, but I think that, because you'll see people like, after a school shooting or something, and you'll know thoughts and, in fact, people tend to mock the thoughts and prayers thing. It's like, that's all you want to do is, because at that moment, the bad thing has happened already. You can't stop it.
Right.
And people are saying kind of thoughts and prayers for the victims or whatever after the fact. But this was like a weird case where it's like a thing happened, but it was kind of ongoing. Like his life is hanging in the balance. And that led a lot of people to have a different kind of urgency. This isn't a prayer over some tragedy that's already happened. This is like dude, like something's going down. Like, and I think for the players themselves, like all of them, whether former players or current players, they're like, dude, like I was that close at any moment to dying. Like, and I think we all of us don't realize just how close to death we are on a daily basis. Yeah. So when anything brings that to our face, spiritual things often come up, Yeah. And that's why, like, to me, if you say which is living a faker life, like, having faith in a higher power, having faith in God, like, is that, or not, and just trusting your senses, whenever, like, which one is more fake? I mean, I say, like, you get tested when a thing like that happens. You get tested when a tragedy happens. Which do you naturally run to? And I think people naturally run to believe in God more than they run into just believe in themselves or the senses or the science or nothing against science, but I'm just saying, like, as the be all end all. Yeah. Like there's nothing beyond matter, that kind of thing.
But yeah, he was rude. It was, like I said, it was a routine play, and then it was immediate that there was the reaction of the players, and like you're saying, it's not like it was another injury. Usually, you see this happens. We see people in football leaving, and mostly when they're on the way out, their thumb up in it, or you can see this guy was in an ambulance. It was obviously, but he's in critical condition. But they say his vitals are starting to come back a little bit, I think, and he's breathing. His uncle's reporting he's breathing well.
Last I heard, he was stable.
Yeah, 24 years old. I was reading online that said that there was another fancy word. I don't remember. Only one fancy word a day for me, but another fancy word where something about he got hit in the chest or at the same in between heartbeats, and it's something they say that happens on baseball and hockey more because of obviously a flying object. But it's very interesting. It's something like that. It's just another story of faith.
Yeah, our bodies are a crazy machine, a very minute machine. Yeah. But I think, sports in general, just to get in a broader sports topic, like I think we're both sports fans. Sports fans.
Huge.
And I think, like, while yes, you can go too far with it, and very much sports can be made an idol, right? Like people can obsess and be more excited about the game than they are about knowing God. That's the definition of idol, right? But I think, there's a lot of there's like a lot of kind of spiritual lessons that come through sports, of overcoming adversity, of being challenged, of having to have discipline, almost to get good at any sport is really never easy. There's no, there's never in the history of ever has there been like a great athlete that had it easy, that didn't have to work hard, that didn't have to, so there's and that's why a lot of people put their kids in sports, right? Like they're trying to teach them lessons that honestly are like straight from God. Those are like godly lessons. Not everybody will, say that's where they come from, but there's a reason why people put their kids in sports, is, to kind of grow their character, like to realize that like things are gonna just sometimes suck for extended periods of time. When I was in Little League as a kid, I mean, most years I was on a crappy team. Like there was like once or twice where I was on a decent team.
Right, me too.
The rest was just obliteration of just loserhood. After
14-2.
Yeah, and all you cared about was like the meal at the end of the game or the ice cream after the game or whatever. But I think like that teaches kids. And my parents, I don't know if your parents did this. My parents were like, if you start the season, you're ending the season. Like,
you ain't getting out. Like I don't care how
bad it gets, or you don't like that coach, or he's, we had a real jerk football coach one time in elementary school, but
yeah, you're not staying. Yeah, you're doing it. Yeah.
But I think that's like very valuable, and that's like a life thing, and I think that's what God asks of us, right? Like we're gonna sometimes be in a crappy job. We're gonna not that mine is crappy, by the way, but sometimes
if you keep playing them drums, it might be.
I've been through a couple, but we're gonna be in those situations sometimes, and it's like, man, learning how to persevere through that, that's huge, and
blessing in battles, man.
God teaches us that, and I think, and then there's this thing about like, and I don't know about you, like, right? A lot of times sports these days, kids are like, I'm a fan of the player, I follow the player, right?
Man.
Like, and like,
open that soapbox, yes.
Yeah, it's like, but I'm a team guy, and here's the thing: I try to tell other people that aren't that into sports or just marginal, like, until you emotionally buy into a team, and you ride with them for a long time, like. The thing is, you'll never understand the full pain of sports, and you'll never possibly understand the full glory of sports.
Right.
Because for me, it was like when the Mavs won the 2011 title, like after watching for the last, decade or more, of Dirk's young career, like, just all the ups and downs and, the last minute thing, and even choking in the 2006 in the finals. And it's like, man, when we finally did it, it's like,
Shaq was on that team.
It was so amazing, like, to get over that hump, like, it was just like, that was just bliss, but it's not like bliss if you went through that pain, it's like, in a weird way, I guess it's like childbirth, right? It's like 9 months of labor, and then this amazing moment,
Yeah, blessing in battle for sure. Yeah, I never, it's very interesting you bring that up about sports. And then a lot of those teams, even like the Yankees, who's got 27 World Series, they still have 8 or 9, 10 years of not winning it. So it's very, I think it's very key, even in life. Like you said with a job thing, what are you going to do? Show up on your second day? This job's horrible. I quit. No.
And there are people that do that, and they have a tough time, because the thing is, you can run from one place to another. I don't care if you're running from a job. I don't care if you're running from a church. I don't care if you're running from a spouse. Like, if you keep running, like, you're assuming what you run to is going to be better than where you left, which oftentimes is not the case, And then B, like, God's going to kind of keep teaching you lessons in less than fun ways sometimes,
right?
Until you kind of get it. Like, He just wants you to be happy being alive and that you have Him, and that, I mean...
Grass is not always greener, they say, right?
Yeah, it's gratitude, man. To focus on gratitude.
I sounded really Texan and redneck on that. I'm sorry. Yeah, grass is not always greener, for sure. Can I get a witness, Chris?
I think you can, man. Can I get a witness?
Can I get a witness?
Oh, man, what are you going to witness to us about, man?
Man.
What happened? What's been going on in your world?
So what I want to witness about is on what I did on New Year's Eve for the first time ever in my whole life, Chris. I spent New Year's Eve at the church. I was at church. Yeah, I was at church. Guy. I've never done that before.
Does this kind of have a party or what?
Yeah. I was talking about you go to sleep and live. No, I went to church and I had a blast. It was so much fun.
But on New Year's Eve, what kind of weird people have church on a New Year's Eve? What is this? What are you talking about? What kind of madness is this?
So at our church where we go to, we have a sister church for now. That's also a tease for later story maybe. And they invited us to what they call it was New Year's, at the church, and they had several sister churches and pastors that talk to each other and say, hey, you know what? Let's have church on New Year's. Let's do this. And they had they had so much. They had opened with a singer, amazing. The guy I got chill bumps. I was just like, whoa. And I will say that it was, let's just say that me and my pastor, Jess, we were the only white-skinned people in there.
Nice.
So they were energetic. It was.
I mean, luckily you guys both have soul for white guys.
Yeah, we do. Actually, now that you said that, I know a little sidebar here. We always talk about nicknames. You finally got one. We hadn't talked about this in the show yet, guys.
No.
White chocolate. White Chocolate. I'm doing the podcast on White Chocolate. Shout out to Pastor Zeke if he ever sees this. Pastor at our church. His name is Pastor Zeke, and he gave Chris a nickname. He's White Chocolate because of his rendition of some gospel singing and being able to, what Chris calls, what do you call that? Is it like improvise? I think a trumpet player, and he knows he's in the notes, but he just, it's kind of like a verbal freestyle
and stuff.
Got the nickname White Chocolate. And on this night, at the New Year's Eve, Jess got a nickname. Zeke called him Dark Thunder.
Dark Thunder?
Dark Thunder is what he called him. I love Zeke. Open with, and the reason why I brought that up is because I've never really officially gone to a black church like all together. I've never done it, and to do it on New Year's, so amazing. So they opened up with, it's definitely different than ours. So they opened up with a singer. She was awesome. They had a guy doing an interpretation of some scriptures through, and he was kind of scatting it, kind of singing it. Yeah. And then the comedian came out. Her name was Miss Vicky. She was hilarious. Nice. Oh man, she was so good at staying in the zone of, you're at a church and testify, but then she would tote that edge. She'd go right up to it. She wouldn't go over it. Yeah. She'd go right up to it, and then she'd bring it back down, and then she'd go right up to it, and she was just so funny. A lot of jokes about I don't know how old she is. You're not supposed to guess women's age. I would say she's above 40. So, and she has kids. So it was a lot of these kids these days. And my son, he ain't got a new man yet. New woman, just bantering back about that. And I might be holy, but I will punch somebody if needed. So it was different stuff like that. She was hilarious and
very down to earth. Yeah.
Man, I do believe I was supposed to see that for a reason, because here recently I've been thinking about getting back in the game, and I've always been thinking about how am I going to do it, because like before I used to tell bad jokes that were, and I'm not going to say I'm going to come out there and just be like, Tim Hawkins to do all Christian, but I'm trying to find a medium in there.
Yeah.
So just watch her at her craft. She was amazingly funny.
I was hoping you would go to that for that reason. Like, I knew something internally told me that, man, like Steve needs to go see that. He needs to kind of get that spark going, man, get that fire,
Yeah. So anyways, that went down, and then she was probably my favorite, but my second favorite it was a mime. He's dressed up like a mime, like for people who's listening on the audio version, I'm trying to do a mime here, and this is not working really well. Anyways, and it was a gospel song, and he was like, raising his hands to the Lord and bringing it back down, and he was jumping and dancing, and the crowd went nuts. They were jumping up and down, and I'm like trying to clap with them, and it was very, very energetic, and it was great. So they had that, and then they had another person come up there and sing, and another singer, and then Jess got to come up there and preach for a little bit. They loved him. Of course they did. He's
Jess
amazing.
Does well in that crowd.
Oh yeah, he's amazing in that crowd. Got a lot of good things in that guy's future. And then Z came up there, and he was preaching as the clock was coming down. It was like 10, and I'll tell you next year the Lord. He was 8, 10, and midnight, hallelujah. And then like everybody had like lights with candles. It was amazing.
That's cool.
Not one drop of liquor or anything on New Year's.
Yeah.
Which is. I'm not saying I get like drunk every New Year's Eve, but to not do that, it was awesome. And to go see that comedian, it was great. Just the whole, and then afterwards, I was, am I going to go talk to the comedian and go talk? And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be. Hey, by the way, I used to do stand up. I didn't want to be that. So I was like, you know what? I got what I was needing. I filled my cup, and then Alfred was there.
Nice.
So. He was excited. We were excited to see each other live, because we don't really do that. Most of the time we're looking at the screen at each other, and I got to spend New Year's with Alfred and his family. It was amazing. And then right before we got to prayer, you did one of those open hand prayers. Mm-hmm. Guess who stuck her hand out? Miss Vicky, the comedian. Come here, hold my hand. I was like, oh man, I gotta ask her now. So we talked back and forth about, she gave me some advice. Don't quit. Just keep going at it. Reach out to me if you need to. So yeah, it was an amazing night there at church. I spent church
Nice. Made a comedy connection, dude.
Comedy Connection. Yeah.
Comedy connection.
Yeah. You need to make some drops for that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. What's up? Yeah, man. So I know, like, sometimes when you're on the holidays, you know, one thing you sometimes get or give as presents is games. You know, we actually like had some fun with my sister. This was like prior to Christmas, maybe like a week or two before Christmas.
Yeah.
And she came over and we played a game called like 5 Second Rule, which is pretty fun because it's like, yeah, like you literally have this timer, like a thing you turn over, and then you have 5 seconds to say 3 of some category.
Oh, really?
And you know, and that 5 seconds goes by so much faster than dude. It's so fast, and it's like it's so hilarious just watching people as you get going trying to spit things out,
come up with stuff that don't even match.
Yeah.
Elevator. What? We're talking about spiders? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's something about games. Like I was reading this book, Revenge of Analog, which by the way is a really cool book, Revenge of Analog. But they talk about various things. One of them happened to be board games. You know, kind of how they're kind of making a comeback, and you know, just kind of after the like digital age of everybody playing video games all the time, just how part of us actually kind of crave sitting around physically playing a physical game of some kind.
Yeah.
You know, the cool thing is it's like it really almost never matters the game itself. You know, usually like all the fun happens. And it's kind of what the book was pointing out. Like all the fun happens in the interaction, like right, like just the natural clowning on each other when you're playing the game. You know?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you're playing. Like I know you're gonna probably think of some childhood games, so I think we should throw down some favorite childhood board games and stuff.
Sorry.
Sorry was key.
Sorry was key.
That was nice because it was easy enough for kids to understand.
Yeah.
But there's enough kind of strategy to like keep adults half interested.
And then of course the redneck version of Sorry, Trouble, which is the same concept, right? Sorry, you gotta work your way around the board. And Trouble, they give you like a little dice that's locked up in there, right? So you don't lose it, and you pop it.
Well, I think that's what was cool about Trouble. It was so like it was that physical feeling of popping the bubble or whatever that was. So.
Yeah. Those two are Hungry Hungry Hippo.
Dude, I was like, if you didn't say that, I was going to kick you off the podcast.
You break one side, and you make tape, and you make it back up to
dude, what kind of violent animals were you?
And then, like, we're competitive, especially brothers, you know, or stepbrothers, or whatever I had going on that particular time. Yeah.
But Hungry Hungry, that was a great game because it's so.
Basically, it had 4. For y'all that don't know, don't
for
have
you young
Google.
Folks,
4 hippos shaped like plastic hippos, and then they put a whole bunch of marbles in there and let go, and then you had this little lever, and you had to suck the marbles in.
Yeah, as you hit the lever, like the head would kind of bob forward and kind of come over.
Yeah, so those 3, I think you have to start off with 3, and then of course there's honorable mentions. You got to throw in there Shoots and Ladders. That's an old school one.
Yeah, that was a fast moving.
Candyland's old school one.
Candyland.
I mean, people probably have lost, haven't speak to some of their family members today over Monopoly, probably.
Yeah, and Monopoly's one of those games where it's like everybody played it. I'm not sure how many people enjoyed it.
Right? You're like, wait a minute, we're gonna play a game where I have to pay bills and I have to.
Yeah, it lasts forever, and you like.
Dude, did you know? Fact here on the CWA, they have a version of Monopoly that's got a debit card. What? That's the best part about being is the banker.
Yeah, we're doing next Bitcoin or something. Crypto.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Crypto Monopoly. Yeah, Monopoly. What about you? Oh man, now that you're gonna start pouring through your head now. Perfection, was that the one? That one gave you anxiety. That's the first game that ever gave you anxiety. That was the board game where you had to put the little. It's like it had a little flat thing there. And it gave you all the little shapes: square, moon shape, star shape, and it had it inside a board, and you had to put it in there before it popped up, and everything.
See, that sounds to me similar to this other game that I know you're gonna remember, Operation.
Oh yeah, same kind of anxiety.
Where you had like you had the body with the whole cavities, but they had like each cavity had a metallic thing, and you had like a little tweezers, and you're trying to pull out like a little plastic piece, like pull out an organ.
Yeah, like or you have to pull the bone out, and if you touch the side, it would
buzz.
And the little nose would light up. Yeah,
I was a big Battleship guy. I could throw down some battle. I can still throw down some Battleship.
You can't lie on a Christian podcast. Did you ever say, "Oh, my Battleship's not there," and then moving over to the left a little bit, just one row over? A6. It's not on A6.
No, actually, I was OCD and anal enough to like. Yeah, I didn't do that.
Okay, well then I guess I just testified about that as well.
Now, like, might I have, like, if somebody was being lazy with their board, might I have accidentally seen where something was because they're just being sloppy and like, and I'd maybe use that knowledge. Okay, that could have happened.
Did you play Life?
Played live. Played
Same
some
kind of
live.
similar thing, yeah, where you had kids.
Life was like better than Monopoly. It was still kind of lengthy and kind of heavy.
It's still kind of bill oriented too. Like, by the way, you got 2 kids now. You can collect this. Yeah, got a lot.
Yeah, they got replaced by Sims later on.
Yeah,
you have your story about it.
We'll talk about the Sim story later. Right here in the future notes, Sim story.
You might have had a relationship with a Sim.
Yeah,
anyway, whatever.
I did. But yeah, there was also I could think Mousetrap. Did you play Mousetrap?
I don't think I played Mousetrap.
Mousetrap was one of like you had to move around the board, and when you finally got to it, it was one of the first games you had to put it together and had like a little mouse down there and had like a little trap that went.
So one of the shortest shelf life games was Connect 4. Like that's like fun for like 10 minutes, and then you're like,
yeah,
it's the same.
Okay, it's the same thing over and over. I remember when I was a kid, the thing around Christmas time. This is because a lot of people got a lot of board games right now for Christmas. Was the circle thing, and on one side it was the regular checkers, and if you flipped it on the other side, it was the Chinese checkers with the marbles. Yeah, a lot of board games when I was a little kid.
Uno to me is still the bomb, but I prefer like traditional rules, not all the crazy extra.
They tricked Uno up so much. I got in my house right now. I got 4 different versions of Uno. The regular Uno, which once again, some of y'all probably still don't talk to y'all's family over Uno fights. Skip reverse, skip reverse, skip reverse, skip reverse, and then. Now there's like Uno with 2 sides of the card and flip it and
you can write your own wild card. It's like, come on, man. Like,
just the regular Uno is fine. Don't try to trick up Uno. Yeah.
It was just fine for years.
It was just fine for years. Yeah, they're trying to trick up Uno.
The other really fun one I liked was Clue. The game Clue. Remember Clue?
Oh yeah, Scarlet.
It's like it was
Mr.
Professor Plum and the study with the monkey wrench.
They need to redo that and change the names.
Actually, that movie was cool too because it had the multiple endings and that was a fun movie. Anyway, like if y'all. Younger folks have never seen that. Go back and watch that. It's a fun movie.
Connect 4. I completely forgot about Connect 4. There's a lot of them that involve like the same. It's like somebody was like, you know what? We can make these same checkers do this. We can make them do this. They can do this. You play card games? Does that count as board games? We play a lot of card games too.
And see, I feel like I didn't play enough card games. I feel like I'm horribly unversed in a lot of like. I never played, bridge or hearts or spades or. All those games,
Yeah, there's War.
I mean, we might have played Slapjack and Go Fish.
Slapjack. I forgot about Slapjack. What was the one? It was called Speed, yeah, where you play a lot of it in school. That's probably why I need to start reading books more. I was playing Speed in school. Like you put the cards and you have to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. Now, my daughter has board games, and they're like, we played 2 of them on New Year's. One of them was the meme one, where like, you get a stack of cards. Yeah, and there's like a meme, and then you got to put the funniest thing to there, and then she's got one where it's like text messages, like you get a random text message, hey, meet me at 7, and then your card be like, I'm your grandma, and I live in Florida. Why were you texting me? So it's like more. They've kind of like made them more obviously fit to more of those kids because try to get a 14-year-old Connect 4 and see how long that.
Come on. 15-year-old, let's play some Slapjack.
There's only 2 colors, black and red. Yeah, so I think for me, board games ended whenever I got the Nintendo, and then video games started. That's probably another topic. We can probably talk an hour and a half.
And that's where I think it's a cycle, man. I think you kind of hit that phase, and then later on in life, you kind of crave the board games again.
I'll play some Trivia Pursuit right now on you. And dominate. I'll play some Pictionary on you right now and dominate. Gestures, with that one where you got to act out the movie scene. Remember that? Yeah.
I'm pretty good at Pictionary and probably. I think I'd be okay at Trivial Pursuit, except for like movies and entertainment. There's certain categories.
Yeah.
I got to stay away from on Trivial.
But if it was music, you would probably win that one.
Maybe.
Probably so.
All right, man. So I want to testify.
Testify.
I want to testify.
I wish I could sing like that. Testify. Oh, I did pretty good. I shouldn't sing too good because this is the music director at my church. He might try to get me out there and sing, and that's not happening.
That is true, man. If he shows any skill.
Sometimes at church, before you get in testify, sometimes at church I hear somebody singing in tune behind me. I'm recruiting for you, man. I got your back.
Yeah, he's always looking out for talent. He's a talent scout at our church. No, so I was at the mall. A couple things. Testify. The whole idea of that is like ways that I'm tested. As a Christian man walking in this life. And I think the biggest sins of life for men mostly are like pride, anger, and lust. Right? Like generally speaking.
Yeah.
All men are dealing with one of those 3 at any given time, and sometimes a combo even. But
dangerous.
Yeah, like I'll get to the last one here in a minute, but I had I dealt with the anger thing big time, like trying to return some boots that my wife got me at Kohl's, and they made it so difficult. Like I went into the store and I was there with Riley. I felt bad. I was there with the daughter, and I felt bad that. Well, here's what I wanted to do. Like, it got me so annoyed. I wanted to go like punch a mannequin and scream the F-bomb at the top of my lungs. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I'm just telling you, like, that's what every fiber in my bone wanted me to do.
Oh, I'm laughing because I've been there.
But I held back. I held back to a point.
I saw one eye in me.
Yeah. I was still annoyed, and I still, my daughter heard some choice words. But again, that's what sucks about language. When you're angry, like, man, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, we've talked about that on Testify before.
Yeah. So I ended up getting past it. We got home, got everything handled online, but they just made it really difficult. It's like we just literally wanted to swap sizes, and they basically made you want to like lose all the discounts that you had gotten on these awesome Christmas sales and stuff.
Well, I mean, what do they want? Like 4 forms of ID? Was you born in your street?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like I'm wrong for having the wrong size foot or something.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna punish me? Like, anyway, so there's that.
It's too much.
My other Testify was kind of from the lust thing, and it's kind of a broader question. I went to the mall, and you walk around the mall. I went on a busy day. Mm-hmm. You're walking the mall, and first of all, just it brought about a question in my brain. Like, do men have a harder time battling lust now than they did, let's say, in Jesus' day? Let's say in the 1800s. Let's say pick a time period in history. Is this the hardest time to deal with lust as a man? Because what made me think about this, I'm walking through the mall, just trying to shop. It's like literally like 9 out of 10 women are wearing yoga pants, and not like with shirts hanging down or anything,
Not modestly.
So it's like you basically are getting just, a perfect silhouette of every bun, in the whole mall of a female,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as a guy that used to have a porn addiction, obviously my brain has thought about those shapes many times in life, right? Like it's an old thought pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you're okay. You escape that. You get to that. Then I had to either buy or take something back. I think we were returning something to Victoria's Secrets, right?
Yeah.
And you go in there, and that's like 18 lust triggers right there. Just meet the mannequins themselves and what they're wearing, and then you're like in there waiting in line, and they're literally like having women in thongs on videos passing by, as you're just waiting to like swap out your slippers or whatever.
Too much.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, yes, in Jesus' day, the Greeks had their orgies and things like that. I'm not saying there weren't like parties where people were doing wild stuff that would have, tempted people. Obviously, that's why he had letters to the Corinthians and different things. But, I feel like today, man, it's just so much overload that the good thing is that in some ways hopefully it makes us a little desensitized to it after a while because it's just so much in our face. But
yeah, I never thought about that.
But I don't know. Don't you feel like it's a harder time?
Oh, it's got to be.
And that's not even like mentioning like phone access to images and videos online. That blew the roof off of all that.
Yeah, it's over the top. It's everywhere. And like I said, like you were saying, they weren't wearing yoga pants back there in the streets. I think clothing wise for sure has definitely been a huge changing factor in it because we show way more skin than ever, which frightens me because I have a daughter and she's getting at that age where she's trying to wear new clothes and different stuff, and luckily she isn't wanting to do any of that, but I know at some point it's going to happen. But anyways, yeah, it's just it's everywhere. It's too much. It's everywhere you look. From literally, like you've heard this, it sounds generic, when you're at the grocery store and all the magazines to everywhere you turn, it's extremely in your face, and to the point where even companies, they know basically sex sells.
Yeah, I'll see ads in the internet. It'll say the insurance laws changing in Texas. And then the picture for it is like a hot chick. I'm like,
right.
What does the hot chick have to do with the insurance laws in my state? Like, I don't understand that,
Yeah.
But I think and we're in a weird time, where I'm going to talk about women from a non-believer and a believer perspective, right? From a non-believer perspective, just in general, I think there's still a weird double standard that goes on of we want to be not seen as objects. We want to be respected. We want higher pay. We want, which is great. Women should get all this respect and be treated, much more as equal. And I think you can have distinct roles, but still be equal in the eyes of God and that kind of thing. But
right.
But yeah, they kind of want this to be seen as this value. but then they also so crave the independence to dress as sexually provocative as I want.
Man.
Because that's kind of me showing off my independence. But the problem is, what they don't get is, like, by doing that, you immediately are making yourself an object. And you may want to say all day long, you know, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not blaming women that get harassed and how they dress. I'm not saying any of that crap, or when they get raped or anything horrible like that. So this is not that. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But this is just saying, like, you know, it's like if I wear a meat suit and I walk around a bunch of dogs, like, there's going to be some natural reaction. Now, obviously, humans can control themselves, right? Men should control themselves. But as far as, like, their thoughts and their eyes and what they're thinking of you, like, that, you have some effect on, at least. Like, you can't just be completely off the hook of, like, you know, and you can't have it both ways. You can't, like, I'm going to dress sexy and hot, and then when the wrong guy looks at me, then I got a problem with it. Like, okay, you're advertising something. I don't know what you're advertising.
Right.
You got that, you know, and then from the believer woman perspective, you know, I wouldn't expect non-believer women to, you know, kind of follow what the scripture says, obviously, right? But for a believer woman, you know, to dress too provocatively, and we've had this issue in youth with young girls. Okay. I mean, that's a battle you get there. When you have swim parties and things, and it's like, it's like what they don't realize, like, you know, the reason scripture says, like, yes, men have to control their lust. Like, that's part of our deal, right? Like, if we even look at a woman, it's like adultery in our mind, Jesus said, right? So Jesus said that. But, you know, Paul mentioned about kind of dressing at least modestly. And modestly by our days could still be pretty, you know, you could still show off somebody to a point, dressing modestly these days with these standards. But I think by doing that, you're basically, it's a way of, you know, showing that you care for your fellow believer. Those that happen to be men, right? Like, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. Right. I'm not going to do things to make them stumble. You know, like, if I got an alcoholic friend, I'm not going to drink in front of them. If I got a friend that's, you know, addicted to food, I'm not going to sit there and gorge out on donuts in front of them.
Right. Like, you're over here fasting. I wouldn't show up with a Big Mac and like right before the show.
Exactly. Yeah. He could be right here just licking a Big Mac right now. But yeah, like, I think it's a way of showing love to your fellow believer. If you're a believer, to say, like, hey, you know what? I'm going to throttle it back just a tad. Like, I'm not going to just bomb you with cleavage. I'm not just going to go to pants, you know, booty in your face. I'm not going to...
Whatever happened to, like, wondering, like, you know, a little bit of less is more.
Yeah. Some imagination, like,
that's the big word I was looking for, Chris. There you go.
It's great as a guy, as a young guy, to wonder what your gal's body looks like. That's part of the fun of, you know,
right.
That's what a wedding night could be, right? Is kind of like unwrapping this present that can go, wow, it's amazing.
I will tell you, from just, you know, becoming a believer 3 years ago, and when I say that, I always believed. I want to say I understood 3 years ago. Finally, before, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I was that guy. Like, oh man, look at, whoa, yes, you know, I was me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Guilty.
It's in your instinct. And now that I've been going to church and reading the Bible and, you know, doing stuff like this and, you know, just partnering up with different, you know, men, you know, partners, you know, to me now, whenever I see it, I still notice it because I'm a guy. Oh, yeah. It's how I respond to it. It's different.
Yeah, no, you're exactly true. My old pornographic mind would stop down and play, like, you know, 15 scenes in my head with that girl, and, like, you know, and the difference is, like, now I can just look and be like, wow, she's really blessed with some stuff, and I can kind of, like, let it go
and just move on rather than let it's sticking in your head and you're thinking about it all night.
The thing is, there's always a physical pain. There's always a pain of letting go something you in the moment physically want. I don't care if it's food, I don't care if it's a woman, I don't care if it's a guitar. You know? If there's something you want and you have to pass it by and you have to leave it and you can't have it, there's always a little bit of a pain involved. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. Like, that's, you know, that's the, you know, where Christ said, give up your life to have life, you know, like, so part of, like, this whole Christian thing is giving up our life, you know, some of the things we want, some of the things we crave and desire, because what he's going to give us long term is so much better. Like, and then, and when you're thinking about it, and when you're thinking about a beautiful woman, this last thought on this, if you're thinking about a beautiful woman as a guy, just remember, man, as amazing as she may look, as just close to perfection as she is, think of the beauty and the perfection of the one that made her.
Oh man.
And just, you know, plant your flag on that and say, like, dude, like, that's what I'd rather have that. I'd rather have the maker than the creation, no matter how good that creation looks. So,
wow, that's good stuff. Yeah,
that's my deal with that. But
yeah, that's good stuff, man.
And sometimes, man, like, when we when we say we're a Christian, man, like, and you've gotten this recently. You as a new believer.
I've had this recently over the past 3 years several times.
Yeah, and when you say that, it immediately opens up kind of the target on you, right? Like I have it on my Facebook page, like Christ follower, you know.
Yeah.
And the minute if I make a certain comment in a group or something, well, you're a Christian, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I kind of wanted to talk about, you know, like what is a Christian to the world, and like, you know, what do I think that they perceive that as?
Yeah.
And what kind of really is it? Because I think in a certain way, there's very two different things.
Right.
You know, in general, I think the belief is out there, you know, if you just ask random non-believer on the street or just impartial person on the street, you know, they're going to say, okay, a Christian to me is somebody that's trying to live good, trying to be good, sometimes trying to be better than other people, trying to be holy, trying to be perfect. Either they're trying not to mess up at all, but they totally do because they're hypocrites, or so there's this kind of belief that the minute you sign on, it's almost like once you signed your signing bonus for the team you're playing for, that like immediately you have to live perfectly. You're probably gonna, because you do live perfectly, or you think you do, you're gonna judge everybody around you for not living perfectly, and you think you're better than other people, right? Like to a point. Like I'm more holy than you, right? Yeah. And what's interesting is like that is actually the religious people Jesus had a problem with. Like that description of what a quote Christian is the exact people that Jesus had a problem with. You know, which is kind of surprising to people. But I think the key is there's the idea of grace. There's the getting something that I don't deserve. Like to be a true Christian, and when I say true Christian, I mean you have to understand the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? Like that's the root of it all. Like you can go to a church once a week. Heck, you can go twice a week. You can live your whole life growing up in a Christian household. You can have parents that are Christian that told you were Christian. Yep. You can do all that stuff. But if you don't understand the basics of the gospel, why the word gospel means good news, why is the news good? If you don't understand that, then you're not at heart really truly a Christ following Christian. Man. You may be a nominal Christian, you may be a person that says it, you may even be a fan of Jesus. There's a lot of people out there that are just, hey man, I like his style, I dig what he's throwing down, but they don't want him to be a Lord of their life. They don't want to follow him, you know, because that you have to kind of give to follow him. But I think the reality is when you understand the gospel, you understand that how far from God's perfection you are now and will ever be on this side of the grave, and you realize how big of a gap that is, and you realize, man, like I'm not worthy of forgiveness. I haven't in any way earned his love. I could go do 1,000 things for charity. I could go do a million good acts, and I'm never going to be good enough just from my own merits, from my own actions, from what I do. Wow. And when you realize that, then you realize, wait, but, there's a great but there, but God loved me anyway, that he became flesh, that he came to pay the price that I deserved. I don't have to actually pay for my own sins. I literally just have to put my faith and trust in this great person of Jesus that people, again, already are a fan of. So it's not like he's somebody that's hard to love or hard to follow when you actually study him and read his word.
You just nailed it right there.
But man, but that's the thing. So any Christian really should almost have a lower view of themselves than other people, right? Like realistically, I should be more humble. I should see my flaws first, before necessarily seeing yours. Because I realize I now know my sins separate me from my God. He's not being separated from me of his choice. It's me separating myself from him with my own sin. And as soon as I realize that, and I'm like, man, I've got to cross that gap. I've got to fix this. I've got to, But the thing is, the only way I have to fix it is by believing in him. I don't have to fix it on some kind of guilt merry-go-round of well, I'm not good enough today. So that's the other end of the spectrum, right? You could go too far and get so into I'm a sinner and oh woe me, I could never be saved. And you can kind of ride this guilt trip merry-go-round, and that's not what Jesus wants. Jesus wants you to just come and bring your junk to him. I mean, it's basically an exchange. It's it's like I come, I'm wearing these dirty clothes. I like this analogy I've heard. I'm wearing these dirty clothes. I don't look righteous. When God looks at me, he sees these dirty clothes. So I go, believe in Jesus, give him my dirty clothes. I take on his perfect clothes, his gleaming white, perfect clothes. And when God looks at me, he doesn't see me anymore. He doesn't see my sin. He sees the righteousness of Christ. And that's it. And I'm covered. I'm covered by the blood. That's when they say covered by the blood. That's a Christian term you'll hear. You know, that's what it means, is because of what he did on the cross.
Wow. At Culver.
He is covered, you know, everything bad that I can do.
Yeah.
So there's a liberation, right? Like now, what should I do from that? Now I should be out and do good works, not to in any way earn his favor, not to earn his forgiveness. I already have his favor. I already have his forgiveness. I already have his love.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a dang thing to earn anything from God.
Yeah.
Because he's already given it to me.
Man.
If you're an heir to the king,
right.
Why do you gotta do things to get stuff? You're the heir. He's gonna give you stuff anyway.
He loves you. He created you in his image. I think for me here, coming out as a Christian, it's tough. But on this last particular one that just happened to me a couple of days ago, I had a buddy of mine that I went to high school with. I ain't seen in a while. I haven't talked to him in a while. Sends me a message. You're religious now? Which is always a weird, what?
Yeah, it just feels weird. That don't feel exactly Christian.
And it's one of these guys that wanted to argue back and banter back and forth. And I basically told him, hey, man, I'm not going to argue with you. Because to me, and I'll say this out loud, and the first thing, whenever he asked me, honestly, the very first thing I thought of was Simon when Jesus told him you're going to deny me 3 times before the day's over. That's the first thing I thought of when that guy asked me that question.
You're looking for roosters?
Yeah, I'm like, in a spiritual battle going on here, and I just said, you know what? It's a relationship, man. I don't know how am I going to explain you my feelings? It's literally to me, I got, and I'm not taking anything away from me because I just started being this Christian, but go like Chris has been in the faith for a while, or a Gerald, or one of those, Tay, one of those guys. You want to battle? Go with one of those guys. So they know the Bible backwards and forwards, but I don't know the Bible backwards and forwards. But I do know that it's a relationship. I feel him. Yeah. It's like being in love.
Yeah, you know what it's done to you.
Yeah.
I mean, there are great arguments to be had, but it also, the greatest argument or the greatest testimony is your own life. And if I look at Steve BC before Christ, you know, and Steve after, then, if I see a stark difference, I'm sure I would have had I known you then more.
Yeah, there's a difference.
And had you known me, same deal. If you had seen those two differences, I wouldn't even need to give you any evidence. You'd be like, okay, if that's a delusion, if that whole Christ thing is truly a delusion, it's like the strongest, most powerful, most consistent, able to withstand, thousands of years and martyrdoms and all that. That's such a strong delusion. It's like the best delusion that's ever existed. If that's a delusion.
And what's awesome about it, Chris, is like people like testimony-wise, like you, from dark to light, back and forth. You went one to another. There's people that don't even have testimony that's been in the light their whole life. But their testimony is Jesus Christ. He's been in my life the whole time. So you don't have to have like a dark past to come to Jesus. There's people that have never done anything their whole life.
Now, sometimes I'll say this: sometimes those people do struggle because they don't realize that they have natural built pride, right? They have a pride that they, and it's hard for them to see themselves on the other side of it because they don't remember being on the other side of it. So there's times that's almost a disadvantage, but I'm not going to say it's a disadvantage to raise your kid in the Lord and have them grow up their whole life in the Lord. I mean, that's obviously they just stayed in a good relationship. Yeah. It's like it's the prodigal son story, right? That's the son that was always there. And he was almost kind of bitter when the other one got forgiven. Yeah. He's like, wait a minute, you didn't throw a party for me, and the dad's like, dude, you've had all of me to yourself this whole time. That's the party. That's the prize. That's the fattened calf.
Yeah, that's the fattened calf. Yeah.
Even though fattened calf sounds good right about
it does.
You know what I'm saying?
Just saying. You want to talk about some beard talk? Got a little bit of time left here.
Yeah, mine's getting a little lengthy, dude. Yours is getting long for you.
So what's going on with mine? With people on the audio, they can't really see this, but what's going on with mine is I had the full beard going, and then I did the goatee. Yeah. Right. And then now the beard's growing back, so it doesn't match. I look like an Irish bull setter right now with the dog.
You just look kind of indecisive.
Look, it's like
a schnauzer.
Schnauzer, there you go. It's funny how a man's beard or what he wears on his face can say what he is. It's like For instance, like you were telling me, right? You had didn't you have chops?
I had chops back in the day. Yeah,
You had some chops back in the day. I mean, there's some people, they're just known for what's it? Raleigh Fingers, the baseball player, he had the mustache that was like, you ever seen those people that had like the mustache and it's like wound or what?
Yeah, we'll have to revisit mustache talk, 'cause that's a whole. I've tried it, can't do it. There's only certain guys who can do it.
Certain guys can pull off a mustache. I can't do that. I can't pull off a
You gotta
mustache.
be a stash guy, but yeah, like this man, the beard's getting longer than I've ever had it, and fluffy right now. But like, my problem is I want to play with it all the time.
Is that what it is?
It's like a toy on your face, man. It's like a fidget spinner on my face.
It does. Whenever you see somebody doing this, it does make you feel wiser. Like
that is okay. It makes you look wiser.
You should go ZZ Top. Just go all the way for it, dude. Just go down to like your waist.
But I think like I can legally have a beard because I'm a worship leader, right? Like that's kind of
Crowder. He's
pretty
Crowder.
much. Yeah, I'm supposed to have like a beard and skinny jeans.
Yeah,
that's kind of
skinny.
That's kind of the.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, I like to get along, but then it starts getting out of control, and I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, I know there's people, and I'm not hating on y'all to go to the place and trim the beard up. I just start over.
Mine gets too curly. Like once it gets long, it gets curly. My hair was straight my whole life when I had hair, and then but from here, there's like an equator on my face that like anything below the equator, like just is curly and crazy. It's wild.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, guys.
That's beard talk.
Gals. Yeah. And girls, if you want to grow a beard too, if you can, go for it.
Yeah.
Please don't.
I've seen that on what was it? At the circus, the bearded lady.
The bearded lady. Yeah. So on the bearded lady topic, on that nice dismount, we'll pray us out. But yeah, Father God, just thank you for anyone listening that struggles with the same thing that we do, Lord. Lord, anybody that just is curious to know you and wants to know the difference between what they've heard a Christian is and what an actual Christ follower who's sold out for you is. Lord, help them put people in their life to show them and to just show them in life and directly, just how we can love you and how we can have a relationship with you, Lord. And I pray that those that have just been stuck in religion can find that relationship, Lord, and can set down just the pride of rules and all that, to just have a great and meaningful relationship with you and fellowship with like-minded believers. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Yes, have a good time. We'll see you next week. Or
Adios.
whenever we're on here or whatever.
Yes,
I don't know.
sometime.
Horrible exit.